Yes, sir. What it do, folks? Team No
What's
Sleep.
that?
We in the building. What is this? October. October the 12th.
Mid October, baby.
Hey,
We
I
there.
love October. This is my birthday month, man. This is my time.
Oh, we got to celebrate that, then,
Yes,
man. You
sir.
know,
Yes,
cool.
sir.
Happy pre-birthday,
I'm gonna
man.
be out of town on the
Yeah,
28th, but we can celebrate for the entire month if you want to. I don't mind that, brother.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey,
give you your shout out.
this is my give me my flowers now if you can, folks. It's all good. Hey,
Yeah,
thank you, man,
yeah.
for jumping on, for allowing us to continue to do what we do. I'm gonna give these flowers to you too, Montel. You know, just the evolution of this show and this session has been amazing. So, man, I want to thank you for that for sure. Um,
Uh,
I said,
Likewise, man. I mean, let's be honest with. I mean, thank you for us partnering up. You know, but remember, this is a year ago. We just kind of just met, and we was from a mutual friend, and we was
yeah,
talking about some things, and it's kind of been able to just blossom into something that I think that's special. That we talk about the uncomfortable stories that people don't want to talk about.
that's true. That's
They
true.
go deep.
I see folks jumping in. I love the fact that people are jumping in. What's up, seniors in the building, so the show can officially start. Sammy Superstar is in the building. Hey, my man, it's Jimsley is in the building. I'm glad he didn't get scared away last week after
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
had
yeah.
some discussion and I
Absolutely.
was worried about him. I said, okay, I hope my man come back because we definitely want to make sure he in the building. Miss Lisa Maria Huggins is in the building. Appreciate you for joining as well. She is family from my other partner, Tall Boy Show. I was just on his show talking technology. So thank you to those folks who are going to be jumping in from there. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. We got a couple of stories that are at least a week old that we didn't get into last time, but we need to talk about this right here. We need to talk about Coach Ime Udoka.
Hmm.
Boston Celtics head coach led the team to actually a great season last year, right?
Yep.
They almost messed around and made some noise. He triumphed through a whole lot of adversity with the squad and things of that. But unfortunately, Coach was doing some things that he wasn't supposed to do. And I know a lot of folks probably already know the story, the fact that he has been accused, and not allegedly, so I don't like to use that term. I hate when people say that, on the legal side. But he actually had an affair, unfortunately, with a representative uh, of the Celtics organization. And Montel, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit more about specifically who that person is because that
Yeah,
matters as
yeah,
well. But
yeah.
folks in the in our culture know who his wife is, Nia Long. Shouts out to Nia Long, and it's just unfortunate. They got kids, and here it is, a situation where this man has been unfaithful to his family, and now he's been suspended for the entire year. So this whole 2022 to 2023 season, he is not going to be sitting on the sidelines and managing his team. Let's talk about from a social impact perspective, because again, that's where we start. Just the damage, right, of what someone who, from our culture, from the African American culture, sitting in that seat as the head coach, who we aspire to, who we look up to, we say, man, there's somebody doing some good things. Now he's caught up in a situation such as this, which is a complete uh, embarrassment to him, an
Mhm.
embarrassment to his family, to his team, even to the lady who he had the adulterous affair with. So talk about it, man, just from your perspective, what you think about when you see
Yeah,
this.
I think from looking from that lens, a person in a leadership position, should know better, right? Because you can't do those things within in your organization or within your group because it compromises your decision making, right? From an authoritative position, you might give somebody unjust favors or give them undue favors or whatnot. Like so, it can be shunned a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I think in this particular situation, where I'm more disappointed in is the Boston Celtics organization. I don't excuse coaches' behavior at all, but I'm saying that should have been handled. This should have been handled in house. We know we're all adults that listen to this. Um, Relationships happen in the workplace all the time. Whether they're somebody outside their marriage or within their marriage, whether it's an affair or a mutual relationship between adults that are single or whatnot, happens all the time at work. So that right there is a guideline within the organization saying, hey, you're not supposed to do those things. So that should be handled in house. It doesn't have to be publicly known or publicly out there. But this was a little bit different. He had an affair with the high consultant's wife, who was a good friend of Danny Ainge, who was a Boston Celtics legend.
So hold on, pause right there,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
again, because I wanted you to put the context in there of, again, this
yeah,
wasn't just someone he met. This isn't someone like who was the coach for Miami, right? Or was it Jacksonville? This is someone who is deep and high up in ranking within the organization. Everybody sees these
yeah,
people walking around the facility together. So okay,
yeah,
now go ahead.
yeah, yeah. This is this, the person who he had an affair with is high. He's very high, and he's high. I wouldn't say he's higher than him as a head coach, but in the administrative part, he is because he's a consultant to the team.
Yeah,
But that part, that's different. That I'm not saying that's fine, but that's one case. That person was a really good friend of Danny Ainge, who used to be the president of basketball operations and is a legend within that organization. So, with that being said, this suspension isn't a policy, procedures, and guidelines suspension because those things that happen in workplaces, in our workplaces, I'm sure in those workplaces, they're handled behind closed doors. Stop the relationship who you're having with, and compromise what's going on. Hey, we may suspend you. We're going to definitely give you a warning to stop it. Right?
yeah,
That's the initial conversations handled by HR. This was a suspension because this is personal. This is, I think, a personal issue because you slept with a person who's a good friend and the legend of the thing's wife. So I'm quite sure that person confined to Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge made that phone call. Was like, y'all need to do something right away. I can't believe he disrespected our organization and such in that kind of manner. And I think the animosity from that personal relationship that he had with that guy he had with the
yep,
woman's husband he had an affair with, levy this suspension. But it's damaging more than that. It's not only suspension. Coaches now credibility is all shot, right? His credibility is all shot as a person that people want in the organization. I've also, there was also allegations that he flirted with other women and stuff like that. That can take it anyway because that's people's opinion. I'm not going to go off of that. I'm going to go off what we know.
yeah.
That he slept with that guy's wife, and I think Danny Ainge made the phone call, and that's why they made the harsh suspension, and I also think they made it public on purpose to smear his character. That's where I see this at. Because any other situation we know in a workplace, if an affair happens or something, it is handled by HR in the back scenes.
Yeah.
Most employees don't
So it's
even know about it.
retaliation from your perspective. It's retaliation
Absolutely.
for
I
you
believe it's the way,
messing around with
yes.
someone close to me. This is retaliation. So we gonna make an
Yes.
example out of you, right? And not
Yes.
allow you to even be in the building when we start playing this year.
Absolutely. And I think other places, other organizations are going to talk. Other sports networks are not going to talk about that. They're not because they don't want to believe that that's the revenge factor. I'm telling you personally, if someone slept with my wife and I call James, your boy, hey James, your worker slept with my wife, man. I'm really pissed off. I'm upset about it. Blah blah. And me and you are really close. You're going to take action on that,
Yeah.
and it's going. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a harsher action than what is within the protocol action.
That's just our way of taking care of business, right? And
that's the way you
it's
look out for
not
your
good
friend.
and it's not bad. It just
Yeah,
it is really the way that these situations work out. If you got an issue and I know I
absolutely.
can influence into that, hey,
Yes.
it's
And
unfortunate.
and that's the part the part is the personal part is where I'm disappointed in the Boston Celtics organization, even though he's a Hall of Famer and he had this infidelity with Danny Ainge's good friend's wife. That should have been set aside, and you should handle it accordingly within the organization, within the procedures and guidelines.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't. It was personal. And the part that's not the suspension part, I'm not upset about because that happens. The smear campaign of the man is where I have a problem with it because now he can't get another job in the NBA. I don't even know if he can get a job in college at this point right now with his reputation and what's going on and what's being said behind him, what's been said about him, probably within the organization and what's been leaked out to the media. Because now there's a picture just painted of him that is all in the negative sense. And I'm sorry, infidelity is a reality in our world. It happens all the time, every day. Doesn't mean you have to smear the person. That's between two adults that have an issue. Whether it's Nia Long, Holly Berry, or whoever the most beautiful woman in the world, Gazelle and Tom Brady, they have their issues as a couple. If they break away because of infidelity, it is what it is. But that's between them. It's not between them and society or and us in social media and us in the media or whatnot. It's not
Okay.
it's not our thing. All we can do is we sideline quarterbacks and maybe look through our lens and we judge a little bit, but that's it. His Udoka's a little bit different because the company leaked all this information where it could have been handled behind closed doors. The company did all these things. The company could have kind of swept it under the rug and kept the infidelity part out of it and just said he's been suspended for personal reasons. He did something that was detrimental to the team.
Well,
They do it all the time.
Okay, but you know when they're high levels, and so I'm gonna put the question out there to the community as well.
Yeah.
How do you think that this was dealt with from your perspective? Right? Should this have been kept under wraps? Could this have been handled a little bit differently? But again, when you got high A-list celebrities, A/B level celebrities, when you got the Nia Longs involved, when you got the winning coach for the Boston Celtics, right? I'm not talking about. I love my Kings, but no, I don't. Well, they're okay, but we're not talking about the Sacramento Kings. We talk about the Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
this is going to get out there in the news and it's going to get talked about. I think the extra unfortunate caveat, we got a black man here who got caught up into some things, and that's probably one of the few head coaches in the NBA that is caught up in something. So now, unfortunately, society is saying, we got him, right? We got him. He can't do nothing.
I'm hearing you, and I agree to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But like I said, infidelity happens in problems in marriages happen all the time. Tom Brady's and Giselle's marriage has been no one's talking about anything with that. She's the number one model in the world. He's the number one player ever.
I think folks are scared to talk about that. No, I think folks, we not, but I think other folks are scared to talk about that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is no one's digging into that. No one's saying what's wrong. They just kind of saying, okay, they're having marital problems and they keep it aside. Udoka and Nia Long, maybe they're having marital problems, and maybe he just, whatever that is, that's between them. That is between them. Him sleeping with whoever he slept with was two consenting adults sleeping with each other.
Yeah.
So him and this other man's wife were consenting. They did that. Now, was that harmful within the organization? Yes. Does that need to leak out to the media in this situation? No. It can be handled within HR and maybe something would have leaked a little bit behind it, but it doesn't have to be a smear campaign on his behalf. Boston Celtics came on, they did a live podium when it first happened. Didn't really say nothing. They just talked in circles about whatever, but they just kept saying because of his behavior with women in our thing, he's been suspended. Nothing. Then these other stories just keep leaking more and more and more to discredit him as a coach because of his personality. I'm sorry, Tom Brady could have slept with a million girls and we would never know because they won't poke it. They won't poke at that bear.
I start thinking about Tiger. I start thinking about Tiger when you mentioned about that. So
yeah. Gazelle could have been sleeping with a million men. No one's going to talk about it. They don't poke in that area. But and also Tampa Bay is not involved in it. Granted, he's not sleeping with nobody within an organization that we know about, but they're not talking about it. Boston Celtics could have handled that in-house, did the suspension in-house, and kept their mouth shut at that point and let people just speculate. Then his reputation wouldn't be so tarnished. Right now, it's being super tarnished and super slanted where he can't coach. And remember, his job is not guaranteed next year.
That is true. That's where I was going to go there.
He's suspended without being guaranteed to be able to come back.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, right now, knowing that he slept with that high-level consultant's wife, I don't think he'll be a Boston Celtics coach next year.
Wow.
Regardless of the situation.
Wow.
I'm not going to bring a guy back that just slept with one of my partner's wife.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. I'm not going to bring him back to work for here.
That's true.
That's just the reality of it. So I think he's never going to coach in Boston again, and I think he's going to have a hard time finding another job.
So his world is now falling apart. His wife, who knows what Nia Long is going to do. This whole situation, he may have to move out of Massachusetts. They may run their brother out. We will see. Let me get shouts out to some folks in the room. JP High-Tech is in the building. Oh my goodness, we got some winners here. We got JP High-Tech. We got Mama D. Yeah, man, you're right. This is crazy and it's sad at the same time. Who knows what's gonna happen, right? This is just unfortunate, right? So Lisa Maria said, of course, they did it on purpose, and yes, it's about color. So again, when you got minority in a high-ranking position, and let's go and talk about it in a town like Boston.
Hey, let's not forget the woman that he cheated with was white and she was Mormon, supposedly.
Yeah.
So you add all those up together, it's sliding down a razor blade slope in a pool of alcohol for him. Right now, it's just getting worse.
Say that one more time. What you sliding down, brother?
He's sliding down a slope of razor blades and about to land in the lake of alcohol because it's just getting worse and worse and worse as far as the story comes out and the situation and who he had this relationship with. It does no good for his career. It's unfortunately a white woman he had it with a high level executive. She's a Mormon. and you're in the city of Boston. All those things, that's your razor blade slope. And at the end of this year, he gonna land in a lake full of alcohol, which
Yeah.
says you don't have a job no more. You terminated.
That's a
I
bad
believe.
day. That's a bad. Just don't do it, folks. Just don't do it. Find
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
another hobby, but don't do it. Let's go ahead
Well,
and move on.
I feel you on that one.
Let's go ahead and move on. Folks, if you got a question, definitely put it in there. Y'all know how we do it. I know we got some new folks in the building, but listen, Martell and I just chop it up. We always start with that socially impacting story. It tends to go a little bit longer because we dive into it, but this week they're all socially impacting stories. We got anything good? No, we don't have any good news. We just we educating tonight from 100%. We got nothing good. I can't even find no jokes. Let's talk about Zion Williamson, right? The next coming, who everyone thought was going to be Kobe, LeBron, whomever else you want to put in there as your favorite athlete. I'm not even going to say just basketball player, right? He was. You're looking at some of these pictures of him coming out of college. He was just a beast out there, dunking on folks, jumping up and down the court, breaking through his own shoes because he was so powerful. But last season wasn't that good for him, right? Just from the perspective of didn't live up to expectations for the team, and didn't live up to expectations, I think, that those outside put on him as well, mainly because of his weight. Right, the man was out of shape, a little bit overweight. He just didn't live up to the expectations of what everyone paid him for, and what the expectation of the organization, NBA as a whole, and then maybe some of his idols. Right, again, the LeBrons and some of the other folks thought we're gonna pass this torch to Zion. But there's an article here on Sports Illustrated, SI.com, talking about the fact that, listen, Zion went through some stuff over this past offseason. Hit the gym again, cut out the carbs, started focusing on building his body right. And not only on building his body right, but building his mind right. Right. Just the fact that he is addressing the fact that he's had mental issues. Talk to us a little bit about that. I know we talk a lot about mental health, mental awareness. We did the Naomi Osaka saga and some of those issues. We talked about a lot of the other athletes. But this guy right here, a young cat, right? Again, someone who had a lot of weight on his shoulders for being so long, realizing that I've got problems. I got things that I need to deal with. Talk to us a little bit about what you think this is. Is this good for Zion to come to this realization, and how can this matriculate out to other folks? I said matriculate. That's a big word. I'm not going to use any more big word. I'm not going to use no more.
No. You know what? I applaud Zion for talking about his dark days. I mean, and talking about, he was shamed because of his weight and all those good things. He was criticized, and it really took a toll on him. Beyond that, he was injured why he couldn't play last year and why he didn't live up to expectations, and that all took a toll on a young athlete. As you know, as an athlete, you have so much promise, and you're about to do these things, and then something holds it like a big time injury, and you're out, and you can't really do nothing, or you can't perform. Things start to happen. You hear all the rumors, you hear all the things that are going on. You hear everything that's there, and then the team was having success without him. So now you hear even more things going on. And I believe, man, like I said, I think not only was it good for him, it's good for him to go from that young man to a very mature adult all in that 1 year, because now he understands I have to take care of my body. I have to do things the right way. I can't just get over it by just being a dominant athlete, because if I get hurt, this is what happens to me. I'm sidelined. I think all those things, and then the pressure of the city being on them wanting to have a successful basketball team, the organization with the pressure of them wanting to have a successful team, his teammates want to know everybody to be successful and how much better they think they will be when he's there. I think people don't realize there's a lot of pressure, especially on a young man that's like only 23, 20 years old, 24 years old. And you can have all the money in the world and say that makes a difference. But if he's doing something he's loving, he's passionate about it, he wants to be successful in it, and I'm not able to be successful, limited either to my injury or whatever it may be, I think those dark days start to set in, right? You start to have doubt. You start to hear the rumors. You start to hear all these things going on.
Question your own abilities.
Yeah. So I think this is a growing moment for him, man, to be honest with you. I mean, I read the article. I was like, man, I'm pretty The fact that he came out and talked about it, because us as African American men, we don't talk about mental health.
Talk on that.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't discuss it. Our parents was if there was a problem, he was going through something emotional. They tell you, man, get over it. Go outside. Go get your mind off of it and deal with it. I think we don't realize that we have a lot of young men with a lot of pressure on themselves, and they don't even realize they're going through those dark days, or they're having mental health issues, or they're questioning their mental health at this point. So I believe that this was great for him to come out, especially to this new generation, right? We're older school. We kind of understand. We understand how to deal with things. The new generation, remember, man, they suppress everything. They either suppress it through social media, suppress it through drugs and alcohol, suppress it with abusing somebody, suppress it with getting abused. They suppress these things and they don't like to talk about it. I think an idol like him coming out saying that he went through that can influence a lot of people.
Agreed. And I put this comment up here from Lisa Maria where she was saying, do you think he was nervous at playing at a different level? I'm not sure if it was nerves.
No, he had success for his rookie year. He had so much success.
He had, his first year was great. I think again it was just kind of the pressure that was put on him by everyone around him, and then obviously you want to succeed, you want to dominate, you again are the next quote unquote next coming. You put that on yourself, and something gives. Right, your health gives, your training gives, whatever the case may be. So I don't think it was him being necessarily anxious of getting out there on the court and doing what he knows that he can do. It was just kind of some of those outward pressures, and the fact that he's willing to acknowledge that, from a mental perspective. Listen, I need to talk to someone, or I need someone around. We always talk about these athletes having a squad around them, right? Just some core people around them that can help them out. And again, you mentioned it, for a Black man to acknowledge that, I have a problem, I have issues, I need help. That's a huge step right there. That's a huge step right there. I'm sorry to butt up.
What's crazy to all the basketball fans that are out there? It's funny because all of our superstars have went through this. Michael Jordan went through it when he broke his foot.
Yep.
Kobe went through it. Kobe went through it when he had his injuries and he had to sit out a year. Kevin Durant went through it when he had to sit out a year with his broke. So all these guys go through this, and I think they didn't state it as well as Zion did about mental health, but it was a mental. They go through that depression. I think we need to acknowledge even on a lower level, college athletes. And I read a story of a young lady at Morgan State. She's a softball player, and she said that this is her last year playing. This is it. There's no professional softball league for her to go to. I played softball for the last 15 years, 16 years of my life, and now I'm coming to the end, and I don't know what to do with myself. I'm depressed.
Wow.
So times every collegiate athlete that's out there that's a senior that's not going to go to the professional level.
Yeah.
All these kids have played this for the last 10 to 15 to 20, some 20 years of their lives, and now it comes to an end. You don't know what else to do.
Don't know
the
what
thing that made you the most happy, the thing that you were celebrated as being successful at is over with. How do I find that new chapter? There's no transitional classes you could take from sports to the real world. There's no transitional class to say, hey, you stop playing this now, what do you do? Now, and I know you go through the high school students that do it, but collegiate is a different level. We'd all played it's a different level.
Yeah.
Collegiates, you're celebrated. Some of them are getting paid to be at that sport. Some of them are getting paid with education or their money or whatever, the stipend. But you're getting paid to represent a school at the higher level, and you're being successful with other adults. But then when that ends in sports, you can't go professional in. I don't think people realize that there's depression there, and that is a mental health. They go, and you don't go through just a regular depression. You go through a deep depression. I know I went through it when I stopped playing sports.
You think about it too, because you're under a spotlight, right? So you've had that expectation for so many years. And shouts out to you, Talway. Thanks for answering the question that Lisa Maria had. Yeah, the Pelicans are in New Orleans, but when you play and you're under that spotlight, you're on ESPN, ESPN2, whatever the case may be. You think you're going to transition and be that next one to walk out on stage with the commish, grab the baseball hat, hug and kiss everybody. But if that doesn't happen, again, you've done that since Pop Warner. You've done that since Little League. This is all you do is get up, train, eat and train and work out. And if that changes in your life, not just professional sports, but just think about it too. If this is something that you do or you've done for an extended period of your lifetime and now it's taken away from you,
Mm-hmm.
That tear in your livelihood, that tear in your existence, man, that can be really tough to
It's real. And
function.
the part that hit me is that it wasn't a young man, it was a young lady saying it. And
Ooh, hold on, look at
she
this.
was saying, she was saying,
College athletes are like horses. They use them till there is no more value. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell
The
the
only thing is,
truth.
I told boy to add to that, if you're in the race, make sure you get that, you collect that money at the end, either with an education degree or something to get out of it. That would be my only thing.
Yeah.
But he's right. They lose you like
Mm-hmm.
horses. But back to my
Wow.
statement, she was a young lady playing softball all of her life, right? And she said it's funny because she knew there was no end.
Mm-hmm.
There is no end because there really is no professional league for softball. The only thing you do is go to the Olympics and maybe play these little small sports leagues that don't really pay money, not enough for you to live off of. So she was like, she was going through a very deep depression.
Mm.
Like, I don't know what to do. And I said, why? And I read it and I was like, wow. She's like, there's no one for us to turn to go get help. Well, and us men, like I said, we're built to not talk about it, not to deal with it, not to do it. Not saying she's not, but it was, to me, it was like, dang, from a young lady standpoint, it's like, wow, she already knew going into this, I'm going to be playing this for the next 15, 20 years of my life, and then it's going to be done. I'm forced to stop because there is no other avenue for me to go. Us guys, we're blinded, right? We think we can go. Hey, baseball, we can go to minor leagues after this. We can kind of go. Football, we can go play overseas if we really want to. There's a little bit more avenue, a little bit of flexibility, a little bit more leadway to go other ways. But for her, it's like softball, that's it. Track stars, that's it.
Yeah.
At the collegiate, if you're not good enough, that's it. And I'm like, wow, I never really thought about it. And she's just like, she was in a very, very deep depression. And I don't know how the outcome. I know she's still on campus and everything because I see her posting everything. But I really thought about that. And then the Zion story came out. And I was like, damn, man, like, I don't think we really realize how much pressure are on our African American athletes a lot. And that the fact that there is a mental health issue that we do not discuss.
That we don't
We don't
address.
talk about that
Yeah.
dark side. We do not address it.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the Nyokis and the Zions. I'm talking about it even on the lower level, man. There is nothing for us. There's nobody for us to turn to talk to. They have money to talk to people. They have other colleagues that have been through it and they can talk to the things they're going through. We don't have that.
Yeah.
Us lower level athletes don't have that. And it's almost scary, man. It's pretty scary because we don't know how detrimental it can be to some people, some of these young people.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you talking about that, and I see Mama D maybe mentioning that she has some personal acknowledgement of that as well. Maybe her son has gone through or is going through something of that nature as well. So where do we go, right? How do we help our people? Am I my brother's keeper? I'm gonna just drop that out
Yes.
there because y'all
Yes.
hopefully know that where that line
Yes.
came from. But so how do we help that person who we're associated with, we're affiliated with, who probably ain't gonna make it, to that next level, who is going to be going down that slope, and we obviously don't want them to fall. How do we assist? Here's the call to action for
Yeah,
everyone
I
watching and
think.
listening.
I think me personally, I think acknowledgement, right? Acknowledge it, empathize, and understand. I think that's the start, right? To acknowledge it, seeing what's going on. For me, I can explain to other players that are graduated that I went through it. You got to make that transition, and it's hard. It's hard to refocus and channel that energy that you channel so much into your sport into something else. I'm sure other people, other listeners can say the same thing. It's really hard to channel that because you're used to being on a competitive stage, competing, and that's the person that's doing that. You gotta help them understand that this is a depression you're gonna go through. You gotta understand it. I understand what you feel. I understand the things you go, but the thing you gotta realize is the sun is gonna rise tomorrow, and you gotta start a new day, another chapter in your life. You gotta start rewriting a new chapter in your life. And if you don't know how to do that, trust me, take it day by day, and it's gonna start to write itself. I think we really need to start telling our young people that because they're gonna go through it. And I hate to say it, it's something that is unavoidable. You're going to go through the depression when you're done playing a competitive sport. That's the reality. That's the reality of it. And the higher you play and the longer you play, the harder it's going to hit you when you have to stop playing. I think we don't. We always look at the professional athletes and be like, oh, he's going through depression. He gained. Yeah. We see it all the time. They stop playing. They gain all this weight. They mope around. Broke. We don't see them doing a lot.
Yeah,
that's a part of depression. They don't know what to do with themselves and all that stuff. They kind of fall into that realm. But they have enough money to get help. What about the ones that can't afford to get help, or the ones that don't have any direction where to go get help? Maybe I ought to start a class, man. I ought to start a business at the transition part.
So
But
that's where I was going, right? Again,
yeah,
let's put the
there is
onus
something that
on
needs to be
ourselves.
there.
Let's not just talk
Yeah,
about it. Let's be about it. I mean,
yeah,
literally a couple of weeks ago, I said when I was going through the early empty nester situation, maybe I should start a support group for parents who are currently going through empty nesting. But this right here resonates. This right
yeah,
here matters, right? Just
yeah.
having and finding the right subject matter experts, finding the folks that can help these athletes, help these people who are transitioning uh, unintentionally
Yes.
into a new situation, right? There needs to be someone to actually not just talk about it, to maybe set it up. We don't have to run it forever, but at least do something instead of just talking about it.
I,
Someone
I,
needs
I
to
think
break it down as reality. I mean,
I
Tallboy's
think
talking
I think
truth too. He's been
yeah.
in, he's been in the professional sports world, so he knows the good and the bad of all that too. So hey,
Mhm.
watch out, brother. You may be a mentor in this
Yeah,
conversation as
yeah.
well.
No, and shout out to Tall Boy, man. I admire the young man because I love his content. I love what he's doing. But for Tall Boy, he like he said, he's been to the epitome. He's played professional sports. I would ask him himself, did he go through a point of that depression when he had to stop playing? Because he would know, he would understand it more than me because he went longer. And I think, again, like I said, the longer you're invested in the sport, when you have to stop playing, I think that part is it's detrimental. I really do, and I just think us athletes, us especially black men, and probably and a lot black women too, or any person of color, especially when we're whether or not to talk about it and deal with it. How do we do it? And I shouldn't exclude white athletes too. I think they go through the same thing as well. I think all athletes. That transition part, man, is very, very hard. And I think that depression part, and it is a difficult thing to deal with. And we're programmed as athletes to deal with things, right? Keep your emotions in, deal with pain, deal with these things. You got to you got to internalize it and deal with it. I can tell this honestly. I just had a conversation with my son right now who's playing in college right now. He's got a small injury, and I'm telling him, you got to condition yourself to be tolerated, deal with it. Hey, Dad, I'm depressed about something. Okay, you got to chalk it up, man, and keep moving on. So I'm guilty of it as myself. We program our young people and our athletes to go through this thing. And when it all ends, that depression. And like I said, that young lady's story really touched base with me because I was like, man, I don't even know how to help her. I don't even know how to discuss her with her
Wow.
or talk about it and help her get through it because, and all I did was, and I kind of know the young lady because she did a favor for me. I just told her, said, just kind of take it one day at a time and kind of figure out what you like to kind of keep yourself going and motivated. And one more thing on this, I can also attest, I know my older son that played college sports, he went through it. He found his passion in coaching because he really wanted to stay around the game and do that. So he found his passion in coaching to kind of fill that void where he wasn't playing. But everybody's not privy to do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know that transitional thing. I hope someone out there is listening and they can, like you said, be a call of action. But that's something that we really, really need to do in our community because there's a lot of people I think are going to deal with mental health and they don't even know it.
Yeah. Listen, we got a lot of folks in the Team No Sleep community who have been on the show, who respond to us on social media, who are in prominent positions, and I think we can let's chalk this up as an action item for us as well. Again, we're not just going to talk about it; we're going to be about it. So let me pull some comments up. Tony Davis
Yeah.
is in the building. Appreciate you, brother. He says it is so much emphasis to be the best, especially in African American families. But once we get there, which is college, call to action is accept that you get to that level, but or the call is success outside of sports. So much emphasis on getting to that next level and being the best, but where can you find? I'm summarizing, brother. But what is that success outside of sports? Again, there it is, right there. Setting
Yeah.
people up to have that degree. Go to school for a degree. If you're a D1 athlete, yeah, go out there and play ball out. But don't just send a tutor to classroom to take your test for you. Right, actually
Yeah.
get that something to fall back on. Yeah, and I didn't want to talk about Tom Brady because again, we had started going down the path of folks who the have-nots or the folks who don't have as much. Yeah, Tom and Giselle are going through an unfortunate situation right now, and I liken what he is doing as well to what you talked about. He may be afraid to stop. That's why
Mhm.
he retired and came back,
Yeah.
knowing that it was going to be a detriment to his familyhood. Right? He don't even
Mhm.
know. I don't know the man. He don't even know his family. Right? all the months of the year, he just comes in as a visitor, living out of a suitcase. Giselle is the one raising them kids. He don't know where the milk is. He don't know how to find right. So he's a stranger.
I wouldn't be that cold on him, man.
But you think about it, right? Again, he's out there doing his thing, doing the. I don't want to talk bad about him. Who knows? We may get Tom on the show one day, but he's doing the TB12 thing. He's the GOAT for quarterbacks right now. He's been doing it for over a decade. He goes home for a couple of months and doesn't know how to fire up the lawnmower. Doesn't know, what a sugar is for the Kool-Aid and all. Right. So he's got to kind of work himself back into home life outside of football. And he apparently wasn't ready for that. He verbally said he retired, but a couple of weeks later he says, "No, I'm coming back to the field." And sure enough.
But you know what's funny?
Yeah.
What you said, like when he said he retired, I bet you the day he said he retired after he got to sit home a couple of days, mental health set in the depression.
Yeah.
Depression said I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
There was no void for him to fill his time up with doing that. Now, as we know, other people can kind of go past it. Look at the Manning brothers. They've been able to be successful. They found them another niche, doing that. But we've seen the talk shows with Brandon Marshall. We've seen all those guys all talk about the depression they went through when they stopped.
Yeah.
All of every last one of them. They all say, "Hey, we went through this, man. I went through a depression mode. I'm doing that." I believe Antonio Brown is lashing out mental health because he's not playing.
Yes. Come on.
I believe that's having an effect on him.
Come on now. Talk about it. Talk about AB, man.
Yeah. I believe that's an effect on him.
Yeah.
The things he's doing and the crazy stuff he's outlasting or the behavior he's displaying is a part of his mental health because he's not playing no more. His days are over in the NFL. So him not playing no more, I don't care what no one says, man, it takes a toll. If you've been singing all your life and all of a sudden you can't sing,
Oof.
I guarantee you're gonna have a part of depression. It's a part of the thing. A person has been walking all their life and all of a sudden can't walk, they go into depression.
Yeah.
That is a mental health thing that we don't deal with. Yeah, if people don't understand, people deal with mental health issues different ways, right? Some people gain weight, some people start to, they get anxiety, whatever. But we don't talk about that in our community. And I know for athletes, we definitely don't talk about it. You are programmed as an athlete. You don't discuss that. You don't discuss anything that deems as a weakness at all. You don't discuss it, especially, and I'm talking about, I know me personally from football, and I know basketball, tall boy can test basketball. You don't talk about weaknesses. You do not discuss it. If you have something weakness going on, if something bad's going on, you mask it and you continue to play.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about weaknesses.
Well, what we will, I tell you what we're going to do. Since season has started, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take team notes. Are we going to take this straight from the horse's mouth?
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a venue to have that conversation. So,
yes.
so let's see about using that for that. I want to bring up a couple more comments. I appreciate everyone for chiming in on some of these topics, some of these issues. Top Boy saying, when he gave up sports, his family and friends threw him to the curb and looked at me as a failure. They told me to figure out life with no lifeline. Oof, right?
And you tell me that can't take a mental toll on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to. That's got to, man. I appreciate you sharing that, Tall Boy. That's crazy. That's wild.
I appreciate you, brother. Mama D, I appreciate you for this statement too. Love the show. Her son is coaching now, has his degree in history. So appreciate that as well. Let him know. Maybe he can come on and talk to us as well, because he's living the situation as well if he's coaching. So we'd love to have that. He says he probably only knows the kid's name, and that's about it. Shaking my Lord have mercy. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Make sure I get to. I want to be cognizant of everyone's time here, and we all have depression once we stop doing what we love, 9 to 5, etc. Tony Davis was a great dual threat in high school when I went to him, football and basketball. Man, the man was out there doing what he does. I don't know. Not sure what you're doing right now, Tony. I know you're probably in the public or the private sector, but again, how did you transition out of that after, being on the front page of the what was the newspaper? The Fairfield Times.
Fairfield Times.
We were in Bandon. We were in Fairfield. The Travis News Report, Daily Republic. That's what it was. Man, I haven't said that in like 30 years.
Shout out to Tony for being that baller. That big time baller.
Tony Davis was a bad man. He was.
But like I said, but I really do believe the further you play it and the longer you play it, and like I said, if you play it in the collegiate, high school, you go through a depression from high school to what. But in high school, it's a different transition, right? Because high school, if you stop playing sports, right, I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to the military. I'm going to go into college. You have these several options.
Yeah.
In college, the options are a little bit least. You're going into the professional world. or you may go on. Are you going into some professional world, right? You're either going into the military professional, or you're going to get a job.
Yep.
But the thing that you love is pretty much gone, except maybe possibly recreation if they even have it. And when you play recreation, it's nowhere near as competitive when you play it when you're representing that school. So the stakes get a little bit higher when you go to college. And I think the depression sets in a little bit more because, like you said, the expectations is you really want to try to play professionally.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't go, like Tallboy said, it's not only pressure from the school and you're putting the pressure on yourself. You got family that's putting pressure on you as well. So all that stress builds up to one, man. Like I said, some people handle it a lot differently, and I think there really needs to be something done to be able to talk kids in that transitional period. I really
before
do
they
think
get to that boiling point. Before they get to that point.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to the next one, but I'm actually glad this came out, especially with someone like Zion Williamson, who again is still young enough to resonate with the youth. Right, and they're going to probably look at him and say, "Okay, maybe I can find someone to talk to, or maybe I can follow his story and try to get better myself." So that's good stuff right here. Again, we got bad stories here. Former NBA player Ben Gordon charged with assaulting his son. Why is there always, man? Okay, I'm just going to let me just read the headline. Former NBA player Ben Gordon is facing assault charges for, I'm not using this word allegedly, but for punching his son at the LaGuardia Airport in New York.
Yes.
So I'm gonna show you a picture of the man. I'm gonna show you a picture of the man's son, so you understand context in terms of his age first, and then let me read on to this as well. Of course, Ben Gordon got belligerent. He got hostile with the police when they came up with. Okay, I can understand that a little bit, but he was trying to fight the police, and I'm not going to jail. I'm not getting in the back of the car. So he's fighting with the police. That never works out right, especially in public place, because it's just not gonna happen. But the deal is, he hit his son for the simple reason the boy dropped a book on the ground. The assault occurred Monday evening at LaGuardia Airport, according to the Queens District Attorney's Office. Witnesses, including an American Airlines employee, says Gordon yelled at his son and punched him several times in the face after the boy dropped a book on the ground. Folks are asking, was his son? There go Ben. There go his son right there. 10-year-old son. Let that marinate for a little bit. So here's a picture of Ben as he was getting released and posting bond or posting bail that night. I think he was out of jail for probably 30 minutes or so when he was slapped with another case for assaulting a woman who I believe she was taking pictures of him. So he actually hit the woman as well. So a whole separate case. He goes to jail. He makes bail. As he's walking out of jail, he ends up turning back around because a lady slaps him with an assault charge as well. So Ben Gordon is just not having a great week, and had this smirk on his face after striking his son, this son right here, multiple times for dropping a book. Don't make no sense at all. Don't make no sense at all. Come on, we have to do better than this.
Man,
we have to do. Listen, this man won a championship with UConn. This man played many years, for the Bulls. He's out there. Come, this ain't right. What father does that? What father?
No, it's not. It's what's crazy? What's crazy? When I first seen the article in the first headline, I thought it was a Karen getting involved and him just disciplining his kid. Spanking his son on the butt, or something like that. And then, as you read more in the story, he punched him in the face. Yeah. Now, I don't know, closed fist or maybe he slapped him or whatnot. Okay, we're going to deter that. But several times over a drop book in the airport.
So two things right there. So, okay, so I'm going to keep reading the story as we go on, because I'm letting it build. I like to let this stuff build. First of all, he's not supposed to be in an airport with this guy because Ben Gordon has a restraining order. So according to a criminal complaint, Gordon's son has an order of protection against him dating from 2018 that forbids Gordon from committing physical abuse, harassment, or the interference with personal liberty, and prohibits him from removing the boy from Illinois. Why does your son have a protection order against you for all these years that forbids you from committing physical abuse,
That's
harassment.
what that's what I'm saying.
And
I'm going.
you
As I
can't
read the
take the
story
fella
more,
out of from Illinois, and you in New
yeah,
York.
yeah,
Come on,
that's what I'm saying. As I
come on.
read the story more and more, I'm just going like, hold on. The dude that took his son out of the state.
We're
The
not making this
dude,
up, folks. This is
yeah,
right out of ESPN. I'll put the links in
yeah.
the description afterwards so you can read it as well.
The dude's evidently he's abused his child before because the mother had the son file a restraining order about him hitting him and abusing him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, when I first read it, I was like, oh, as we do in our community, our culture. Mama said, don't touch that. Pop, don't you touch it again, right? Get your hand, don't you do it. I told you not to touch it. Pop you on the hand, especially a 10-year-old. I think he's only 10 years old, 11-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Pop him on the hand, right? Pop him on the hand or pop him on the butt. Or you give him that look and you grab their arm real hard. And you say, don't touch that no more. I told you don't touch it.
Yeah.
This dude got a problem, man. He got a
Man.
problem. So I'm just, man, I don't even know what to say, man. I'm flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted. You know,
Yeah.
Ben's a young
I don't
dude.
even know
He's
what to say.
39 years old. I mean, it's not like I don't know, right? This is
Man,
terrible, and
can
it's not his first run-ins with the law as well.
no,
But this just goes
can
to
I
a whole
can I
different
say
level.
what I really want to say? Can I
Man,
say
go.
what I really want
You
to
better
say?
talk on it. You better talk on
Man,
it.
he need his ass whooped. Ben Gordon needs his ass whooped, man. Because that don't make no sense, man. You abusing your own child. Obviously, it's happened before.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't. I won't be doubted if he's abused to his son's mother before. You know, seeing. Usually you abuse a child, you're probably abusing a woman, and I'm making that assumption. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's the assumption I will make. Obviously, he's abusing. He had an assault charge on some person who was taking a picture of him that he didn't like that. I get that with the paparazzi, but you don't have the right to put your hands on them. We got another story that's going to talk about that as well later on, a little bit later on. But the fact of the matter, man, this dude, he has a problem when he doesn't like something, he wants to put his hands on somebody. What that tells me is you need your ass whooped. So the next time you think that somebody bigger and better gonna whoop your ass, so you can't do it again.
You know.
And I believe, man, if he literally punched his son that time, he needs to go to jail for a minute, or he needs to definitely be sitting down and get some counseling and do all the things they need to do to make sure that that's not right. But and I should say, he needs to go to jail for the fact that he took his son out of the state, right? That's a legal document saying you're not allowed to leave the state with this child, and he did that. So I'm assuming he's probably gonna face some jail time or definitely some criminal charges to be there.
Some other charges and answers to this question right here, right? The son is with the daddy. So how did he get from Illinois to LaGuardia to New York, right?
I'm gonna touch on that too.
I wasn't finished. I'm gonna touch on that too.
Oh Lord, see, there go ABC News calling you right there, right now.
Yeah, they call him.
Fox News is calling Montel Allen right now, folks. Yeah. You know, because we call.
I'm gonna touch on that. I'm gonna touch on as well. You're right. The mother has definitely some liability in this situation.
Yeah,
I don't know how she let her 10-year-old son leave with their father when she knows he's abusive towards him, and know he wasn't supposed to leave the state with him. So I know the lady's gonna be like, oh, but not. She deserves some of the blame too, because there's no way in hell he should have been able to leave the state with that child and take him to New York. So you're right, Tall Boy. She deserves some of the blame of it, and she deserves something. Something needs to be reserved for her punishment as well for ignoring the court order, because she ignored it just as much as he ignored it. And who's to say this isn't even the first time he ignored it, or they ignored it as a couple? So I believe something needs to be done there. She either needs to be fined or whatnot. I just feel, man, that brother needs help. He needs help, man, for real, because that's not a normal behavior to be punching several times on a 10-year-old kid. You're a grown man.
For that reason that we are being made aware of. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter what the reason is, but for being told that you punched him multiple times in the face for dropping a book. We need to go a little bit deeper in that. We need to figure out really the why. There's something beyond a little bit deeper than that.
On, man. If that's the one thing that makes you snap, your 10-year-old dropping a book makes you snap to punch you several times.
Wow.
I can only imagine if he would have broke a glass in the store, what would have happened.
You know what I'm saying? I just came out of the airport. I know how crazy they are, and I've been to LaGuardia a number of times. It's chock full of crazy at LaGuardia. So, man, emotions are running high, and people are yelling and screaming and rushing around. And just because I dropped a book on the ground, you're gonna hit me in the face?
The brother had no excuse to do that to his child. I hate to say he had no excuse, but I mean, the crazy part about it, man. Now they got to go through Child Protective Services to clear this all up.
Right. So
they got to go through this whole ordeal to get this situation all straightened up and all worked out But he's big time at fault, and the mother's definitely at fault as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm and this is funny. All the money in the world doesn't save this, right? Ben Gordon I don't think is hurting for money.
True.
He's I think he's pretty much wealthy. So this ain't even a money issue. This is something that man's dealing with. And again, we just talked about depression not playing anymore. What do you do when you're not playing depression anymore? Some people act out in anger. Who's to say he's not angry at the whole world because he can't play basketball no more? I'm not making that an excuse.
We're just assuming, but we don't want to speculate. But yeah, some calls it a snap when the boy dropped the book, and next thing you know, it was just a bad situation. And here it is right here, right? We don't know his family dynamic. Maybe his family did it to Ben when he was a kid, learned behavior. 100% true, brother. Right there, 100% true.
Hold on. I'm gonna pause on that one.
I mean, that could be a part of it right there. So
that could be a part of it.
Yeah.
But you got to know better. My dad was alcoholic, and I don't even drink alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So that learned behavior can be untaught. If you know it's wrong, you don't do it.
It can be untaught. Okay, I like that.
You choose to do it.
Preach on.
If somebody was whooping my ass every day when I had my kids, I choose not to spank them.
Yeah.
I know people like that all the time. So granted, I know that happens in behavior. That's what you witness and you see. But you can change it if you want. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna give Ben Gordon no kind of pass. Brother, you wealthy, you rich, you made it, you did everything you needed to do. There's no reason for you to snap and have to punch a 10-year-old in the face at any circumstances.
Love it. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So he ain't getting no excuse pass for me on that one. That he's wrong. Hard book that one out. He's there.
Woo! Listen, we're trying to stay monetized. We trying to stay, and Mama D, you now feeling exactly what we do. Welcome to Team No Sleep. We get into it, and then we follow up with more and more contact. So that's what we do. Steve Worthy, what's good? Hey, Steve Worthy, come on now. Rocking that podcast is live. I'm rocking your brand today, brother. Appreciate you for jumping in, man. Good to see you, man. So yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more about this as this flushes out. There's a couple of other stories that we talked about in previous weeks as well that haven't been given a lot of news coverage. I'm thinking of the Brett Favre thing. So don't worry, folks. We haven't forgotten about that. We're gonna talk more about that as well. We're not gonna sleep. Team No Sleep will not sleep on the Brett Favre situation or this Ben Gordon one. Let's move on, man. Let's move on. Davante Adams, wide out for the I was gonna say Oakland, but for the Las Vegas Raiders. Great player. Listen, the man has skills. The man has good. Tough game though. Tough game against them Kansas City Chiefs the other day, and as Davante was walking off of the field after a hard loss. He had his head down. I mean, I watched this video multiple times. He had his head down. He wasn't paying attention. And then out of his periphery, someone crossed him. And Davante felt the need to aggressively push this man out of his way. Problem is, the problem is you just can't do that. You just can't run up on anybody and bogart anybody like that. But the problem is now that gentleman who was a credentialed media member has filed assault charges against Mr. Adams and I don't know if he's seeking monetary damages, but I just know that
he's gonna get paid.
Let me roll into it. He's seeking a judgment against Davante, and he don't want to sign jersey. He don't want to sign football. But this right here, is it letting the emotions of a hard-fought, combative, competitive environment get too much of you as he pushed him down? What do you think about this entire story right here? Because I know you saw this video, and I know it's going to come up on here in a second.
Yeah. This is where I see it. First of all, media needs to be trained as well as you're talking about. The players need to control their attitude. Media needs to understand you don't jump in nobody's face after an emotional loss that they did. Like, why is this man jumping in his face trying to take a picture? That's number one. Like, why isn't there training to say, you know what? Hey, they walk on the field, stay, let the players do their thing, let them go away and go through the tunnel, and you can talk to them afterwards or whatever. That should be part of the media training in my effect. That guy was going for the money shot, the TMZ shot, getting this guy when he comes off the field, and he's pissed off because I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the receivers ran into each other, which ended the game, which messed up the route, so they didn't have an opportunity to win. Davante's probably upset That something happened with the routes, didn't get a chance to win it. There's expectation for the Las Vegas Raiders to win. They didn't win, and they had the number 1 team in the division right on the ropes with opportunity to beat them. All that being said, he's upset. He's trying to get to the locker room. This dude jumps in his face with the camera, invades his privacy as he's walking out, trying to get the money shot, and he got pushed out of the way. Now he's claiming that obviously that he's hurt. He wants to sue for all this. He wants injunction. Obviously, he wants to get paid like anybody else would do in that situation if that situation happened to him. But I believe the NFL needs to have a protocol for these doggone reporters. And in all sports, they have these a protocol for these reporters and these media people that they're human too, man. They get emotional. They're playing a violent sport. Then do you get in the middle of a boxer that's after a loss and do that? No. Yeah. They ain't gonna jump in front of Mike Tyson after he just lost and he walked to the ring trying to get a money shot.
Yeah, you don't want to walk.
You know what's probably gonna happen. So why is it okay for them to jump in front of him? Why did and man, the push wasn't even that hard. That's what kills me, man. It ain't like he slammed him to the ground or something. He pushed dude and the guy fell backwards. Probably because he lost his balance, trying to set up the camera to get the money shot. In my opinion, now Davante's gonna be out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more. And there's gonna be a situation like that. Now, I'll get to Davante. Did he have the right to put his hands on him? No. Could he try to walk around him? Yes. But also, man, like I said, in the heat of the moment, man, all that flying running high, I don't know what was going through his head. He probably didn't want to be bothered with nobody at that point. Yeah. And that's not giving him a pass to put his hands on somebody, but you got to give him a little bit of leeway after coming out of something like that of a game or something like that. That camera guy could have said, "Hey, hold on, let me take it to the side and not get in his way as he's walking out to the tunnel." So I'm divided in it. I understand, but man, I think the media guy doesn't have the right to jump in anybody's face. It reminds me. I don't know if you ever seen that clip. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. When the cameraman jumped out of the car, the camera guy tried to jump out of him in front of the car.
Yeah, and Nipsey put him in his place. He was telling him about himself. He don't do that, man, because I'm from these streets. Yeah.
You can't do that. Like, what are you doing? You're invading my space at this point. You can't do that. So what gives that person the media rights to invade his space after a game like that? And he doesn't expect a reaction, to somebody doing that. So I'm crossing the middle, everybody. So if you think I'm flip flopping, I am flip flopping.
Well, it's a hard situation, right? I mean, it's an unfortunate situation because the guy was, he looked like he was legitimately trying to get out of the way, but he was just a little slow. He's carrying all his gear, but you got this gladiator who was just in battle for an hour and a half, and he didn't win. So the pressure is boiling over, and if you go, and you're right. If you're gonna cross in my way right now, I need to get you out of my way. So there's justification on no side, but at the end of the day, I don't know what Goodell is going to do. Who knows what the Players Association and players are going to do? They may try to alleviate having non-players on the field at particular times. Look, if you're not in your spot where you need to be there, let these players go by, especially the losing team, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen. Again, you got these gladiators out there. You got 285-pound men who live underneath the squad rack. These men got some power on them, and they will move you if you need to be moved. But Davante's going to lose some cash on this. He's already apologized. Everyone's got their own media branding that they do themselves. He's already apologized on Twitter. He sent out the tweet saying, my bad, dude, didn't mean to do it. No ill. I was in the middle of, thinking about the game, but I don't think that's going to go as far in the court. Maybe in the court of public opinion it will, but in the court, it's going to be a
that's never enough for anybody that's been assaulted by somebody that has money, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we could always look back to Dennis Rodman when he kicked the cameraman for being in his way when he was about to fall. And he kicked the cameraman, and cameraman act like the world was in it. He sued him for some money.
Yeah.
I mean, these situations aren't new in athletics. They happen all the time. People that are in the media are in their way, and they either shove them or bump them or push them to get them out of their way, no matter what they're doing, and they're always going to lose some coin on that situation. I just think there needs to be a better protocol with that, because again, they're dealing with an emotional situation. There was high emotions at that point. I'm trying to get out. I'm in a hostile environment. I'm in Kansas City too. Trying to get to the locker room. We just lost. Everybody cheering, and I'm in this situation. And this guy's going to jump in my face and try to take a picture. Man, get out of my way. Move. What are you doing? Get out of my way. And everybody sees it. I'm sorry. That's not shoved hard. Anybody got shoved hard, Poole shoved Draymond Green kind of hard. But before Draymond put the balls
Yeah.
on him. That dude didn't shove that cameraman there hard.
Yeah.
Now, maybe he doesn't need to because the guy's probably a little bit smaller stature than him. But the fact of the matter, he didn't shove him that hard. The guy fell and tripped. And now all of a sudden, like you said, an apology's not enough. I need to hit that pocketbook.
Yeah, they're gonna be some withdrawals, some debits and credits coming out, and who knows what'll happen. I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate, but again, maybe some policy changes. A lot of times, lately we've been seeing the NFL react too late to situations like the concussion protocol, and that needing to be changed. So maybe something like this is going to cause them to rethink again access to the field at specific times.
I mean, James, you've been part of the media. How do you feel about that? I mean, you've been part of the media situation before in a professional environment. How does that work with you guys?
Where to be. Listen, I know where to be and when not to be there. Right? If you're supposed to be on assignment, if you're supposed to be in location, Tomboy can talk to this too as well. If you're not where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, you out of luck. Right? And the fact that this man was late to his charge, late to his spot, late to where he was supposed to be, and trying to move his way in. There's kind of an unwritten code, I think, that you just don't you stay as invisible as you possibly can, especially when you're dealing with situations like this. It's almost like the Boy Scouts, right? When Boy Scouts go camping, you try to leave the environment after camping better than it was before. You try to tread very lightly, be invisible. I'm just there with my camera and I'm there with my mic, just out of scene. I don't want to become the spotlight of the situation. It's not about me. So, this man walking in the middle, again, this gladiator walking off the field, man, that's just playing roulette with your well-being. But
exactly. And you're trying to get the money shot. I know he's trying to get the money shot.
Yeah. Trying to get that sound, that experience, trying to get that little Instagram bite. And you messed around and got caught up in a situation.
You got caught up in something. So I don't feel Davante should have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? But I know, but he does have to pay for that because he didn't have to put his hands on him.
He didn't have to put his hands on him.
I get that, but I mean, but again, you're invading my space, man. Anybody that's invading my space, I should have a right to get them out of my face. What they say, give me 6 feet, right? Give me or whatever the song. So give me some room, man, so I can go ahead and maneuver. And this guy didn't give him no room. I don't think he has the right to push him because he's in a professional setting. He's a professional athlete. But then again, also I can empathize why, or I can understand why he would push him to get him out of his face and get out of my space real quick because I'm not trying to be here. Again, I'm in Kansas City, and anybody that know Kansas City Stadium is probably the loudest one, the rowdiest stadium
Kansas City
in NFL.
Rowdy.
We just lost, possibly the biggest game of the season because if we would win, we're all of a sudden now in second place in a situation where we can catch them and make it to the playoffs. I just lost on their ground on a crucial play.
It was a good game.
There's possibly my fault or my teammates' fault. I'm frustrated as hell right now.
Oh, and Davante, he is the golden child. He's the one, right? He's coming from Green Bay. He's the man who's supposed to be catching all the touchdowns. And
you're making a mistake. He's the number one receiver in the NFL. He is the best in the league right now. The best. Yeah. I'm the best dude. There was a mistake that happened. We just lost on our enemy's field too. This is one of the biggest rivalries. My enemy's field. I'm hearing all these boos and cheers, and they celebrating on the field, and I'm pissed off because this happened. And I'm trying to walk out, and then you had an audacity not to jump in my face right before I'm going to the tunnel to get in the locker room to try to get a picture of me. So I'm painting a picture from the athlete, really, dude, really, you have to do that. Now, I know
that perspective isn't always told, right? That perspective isn't told. It's always the Monday morning quarterbacks. It's us in the stands. It's the fans who, again, not the person underneath the helmet and what they're going through at that particular time. Not saying either one is right or wrong, but just saying, again, we need to see both sides to get really what happened during that situation.
Man, I hope he doesn't. I hope he don't get hit too hard, but he's gonna get hit with a fine. But the NFL, he's gonna get sued. He's gonna get all those things, and he's gonna lose some money in the suit because bottom line, the dude's gonna sue him out of money. He's gonna settle. Yeah, that's just gonna be the reality. They're not gonna go to court over that. They're gonna settle on a fine number, and they're gonna cut him a check, and that's gonna be in. But that's a damn shame that I gotta pay you to get out of my way of where I had to ride away to walk.
I got to pay you.
Yeah, I gotta pay you because you was in my way. So kind of sad thing, man. But I mean, this is newsworthy, but it ain't front page, so he gonna be all right.
Oh yeah,
Davante's page.
it's gonna blow underneath the covers, but we wanted to talk about it because there's a whole lot of different dynamics, and one thing that, like Lee Smith was saying, it's looking for a payday, and it could be, again, depending on who the person was. This brother, okay, you gonna come to this town and you gonna give me some money for pushing me. So that's a dynamic that it may be awkward to talk about. Yeah, it may be awkward, but we gonna talk about that, right? So let's have that. Let's go ahead and do this one right here, though, man.
Okay.
Hold on. What now? Mama D, why you I see you retracted your message. I talked about it and you retracted your. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. Wednesday now, folks. We go live. Team No Sleep, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. If you subscribe, turn on those notifications. You will know when Montel and I are here chopping it up, talking about all the madness that is the social impact of sports. So we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep serving you, the community, and I think we really gonna take straight from the horse's mouth to another level and start talking about some of those things too, because I know a lot of the folks that you were talking with, athletes and coaches, they busy right now. So we gonna find a way to bring some other folks in as well. I'm gonna hold this other story until later.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk. Hold on. How many folks watching? We got a gang of folks there. Oh, we popular on Twitter. I see your Twitter. Okay, we let's go ahead and talk about this crazy man right quick, man.
I
see you on Facebook too, so appreciate y'all. This is sports related. Sports social impact related, because Kanye, Yeezy, whatever you want to call him, recently filmed an episode of The Shop. The Shop is Maverick Carter and LeBron James's show. Great show. It's a great show on HBO where they talk to leading athletes, leading entertainers, just folks in industry and in business about social impact. Be honest with you, it is what I have fashioned Team No Sleep after, right? Folks getting around the room and talking about matters and things that really matter. The deal is, Kanye was recently interviewed on The Shop, and he continued to drop some serious anti-Semitic, some serious hate conversations, some serious just backwards thinking about Jewish people and just about his thoughts of stereotypes of various people. So Maverick Carter, who is really the executive producer and the one behind the scenes running the business side, said, we're not even going to air this entire episode. We done with Ye. Right. So Kanye should be done with Adidas as well. Well, we want Adidas to say something about their whole relationship, but we know how, if you know the history of Adidas in and of itself, research that. But again, something needs to be said and done about Ye and the fact that he's out here spewing hate speech. He's going on various shows. He's going on ESPN and he's talking madness. He went on CNBC and started again dropping more anti-Semitic types of conversations and statements. And now on The Shop, he filmed the interview and they're not even pulling. They pulled the entire episode. I worry about this, brother. Now, I pulled him off of my playlist. I told you that earlier, just like I did R. Kelly. I can't go around. We can't play R. Kelly no more, right? And so we just can't do that. But I pulled Ye off when he decided to run for president and didn't have no type of. He had a crazy platform in terms of what he was running for, and then they did that benefit concert. Him and Drake did that benefit concert. Who was the gentleman that?
Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover.
That's right. Did Larry Hoover Fund hadn't seen no money. But that's a whole nother. We talked about that as well too. Look at the history. Look at the legacy of what we've talked about here on Team No Sleep. Ye is out here just spewing hate speech and ugly stereotypes about people, and it's dangerous because Ye has a huge platform. He's a billionaire, right? So he's got access to all kinds of resources. He's got just access to all kinds of abilities to share his message, and just the fact that he's out here making these kind of remarks, I'm concerned about how folks are going to listen and hear this and maybe fall into his wheelhouse if he doesn't continue to get checked. I like the fact that Maverick Carter, I have so much more respect now for Maverick Carter, LeBron James, and just that whole entity behind the shop for pulling that entire episode. Talk to me about this, man. What you think?
Yeah. I think that's the right thing to do, obviously. Kanye has mental health issues.
Yeah.
Let's just be perfectly honest with it. Obviously, his mother passed away. He hasn't been able to get a grip on his mental health, unfortunately, and it showed in his documentary. It's shown in his actions, the way he reacts. It's shown in his marriage with his ex-wife Kim.
Yeah.
It's shown in all these different ways. So what he's doing doesn't surprise me. You know, I've been done with Kanye for a long time. I'm not as extreme as you. I still like his music, man. I mean, his
He's
first
still rocking with him.
well, I like the first 2 albums. Everything after that is garbage. I'm not a big fan, but the College Dropout album is cool. That's a classic, and if it comes up, I listen to it. But as far as Kanye as a person, I don't have any respect for him. I lost a lot of respect for him. I don't have a problem with someone speaking their mind. I really don't. If that's the way you feel, you speak your mind, that's fine. But his platform is detrimental. That's the problem. He has a platform that's detrimental to speaking messages that have really nothing to back them up sometimes. You know, for him to say, when he said that slavery was voluntarily,
come on.
He lost
when
me.
He said slavery was a choice? Come on, man.
Yeah, it was a choice, man. That right there, that already shows me, brother, you off the deep end. You know, that's some things that you don't, that's something that you don't touch. And this is funny, man, the fact that this so-called cancel culture doesn't attack people like Kanye. Like, there's certain people they don't attack.
Yeah.
They don't go after, they don't do that. And, for me and for us as probably an older generation, we've canceled him. I've canceled him. I don't want nothing to do with the brother. I wouldn't spend a dime on anything he does. I'm not buying the Yeezy. I'm not buying the Yeezy for my kids.
You're not buying them Yeezy. You're not spending that $300 or whatever.
I'm not doing anything. Yeah, he doesn't get any of my consumer dollars because I'm not a fan and I'm not a fan of his rhetoric, what he's preaching. And all those things he's talking about, white lives matter, and he's talking about white supremacy.
So that's really where I fell off when he was wearing that sweatshirt. White lives matter a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pro-Trump. He's all these things. He's all these things that are opposite of our culture, right?
Yeah.
Or that we support as a culture. And I have no problem if that's your opinion. If you think Trump's a better person for president, that's fine. White lives matter is a given, Kanye. We already know white lives matter in the United States. It always has. We know all lives matter in the United States, and all it has. The focal point has been Black lives matter because blacks have been filmed being attacked and persecuted and abused on camera over and over and over again. So it needs to be a light shined on that. When it happens to Latinos, if it does happen to Latinos, we will shine a light and say brown lives matter. When it happens to Asians, we were saying Asians' lives matter. When they was having all those attacks in New York, we're focusing on the issue at hand right now. And he's just, man, his rhetoric, man, is just disappointing. Me and you was talking about the thing with Larry Hoover. First of all, I don't know if people know Larry Hoover. He was a gangster in Chicago. They got accused of a crime that he supposedly did not commit, and I think there's been evidence he didn't commit it, but they were trying to get him out. Threw a benefit concert for him and Drake threw a benefit concert. After that concert, him and Drake fell out, and I don't believe Larry Hoover attorney team has seen any money that because I haven't heard anything else about it, at least in the media. But I have two things about that. Why do you have to have a benefit concert when you're a billionaire? Couldn't you just cut a check for a couple of $1 million to get him out if you felt that passionate about it? Why are you using your fans' money and wrongfully influencing your fans to do those types of, to help support a cause of yours when you have the money? Kanye was a reverend at a church. He started a church in LA. I don't know who goes to it, but he started a church in LA. He had a gospel album that went platinum. This dude, man, I mean, his talent is unquestionable, but that dude, his direction and his mental health and with the way he's going, it's all over the place. And he's somebody I just can't get behind. Sorry, man. He's just a brother I can't follow.
Yeah,
I can't support.
I went off screen to kind of find what was going on with the Larry Hoover situation, and can't see any positive things like his camp getting any of that money. It's an interesting statement here. Top Boy said, I saw the interview when he did. He said, I'm glad I interviewed him when he was cool with me. On the flip side, if you continue to give him the platform, he is going to speak his mind, and people will always question him. Stop giving him a platform. If you don't want to deal with him, no need to speak his name or what he does. To an extent, I agree with you, but not everyone follows the news, entertainment news, electronics news, technology news, just all that stuff, right? As closely as we do, right? They hear it second, third, fourth hand. So we got to at least speak about it. We won't dwell on it, but I think the best thing that we're doing is, like you said, Montel, I'm not giving him my dollars, right? I'm not contributing to his collection at Gap. I'm not buying his Yeezys. I'm not buying anything from Adidas. I'm not buying his albums anymore. That kind of thing. That's where you hit him. But spreading the information and spreading the news, it may be awkward at sometimes, and a lot of times we may not really want to talk about this, but somebody's got to talk about it. We can shorten the segment, right? Only give him 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes. But you guys are gaslighting him by introducing what he was doing. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're gaslighting him. I'm just telling. I'm speaking my disappointment in the brother.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm speaking my disappointment, and I'm speaking that he needs to get help. And if that's gaslighting him, then I'll be the first one to pour the match on the gasoline. I'll throw the match on the gasoline because he needs help, man. He needs help, and you know what? It's disappointing because he's such a talent. He's so talented in the things that he does, and he was so prominent in our community when he first came out. Now, I don't know who this guy is. So his speech just does not rub me the right way. And if people choose to follow him, that's like people follow Trump. That's their choice.
Yeah.
I got friends that are Trump followers. Do your thing, bro. That just ain't me. So it's all good, man. I know me personally, I'm not contributing anything to it. I'm not buying into the Yeezy madness or whatever.
I love it, and I love this little bit back and forth right here. Tony Davis and Talk Boy and Lisa Maria. You're right, but again, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least approach the conversation to have the discussion. So we're not going to dwell on it, but again, I think there's healing and there's benefit in even just talking about this to the extent that we are, because it allows folks to think instead of just hiding and being covert with their opinions and how they want to deal with it. If we talked more as a society, if we communicated more, we'd be better off. So that's the reason for that. But we will move on now. We will no longer talk about Ye. I will not play my R. Kelly music. Before he went crazy, boy, man. Okay, I'm not gonna get into it. Let's move on. Brother Montel, we did it again, man. We got a gang of folks, man. We appreciate folks coming in and joining from all the platforms. Twitter is hot. YouTube is hot. Facebook is burning up too. So loving the fact that we got folks jumping in. I'm gonna cut up a lot of these segments, man. But as always, go ahead and take us out, man.
Yeah, our saying from now on to the end of the year is please get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. Please do. Because we're all going to have them. I also want to hopefully give a shout out and dedicate this show to a former guest of ours, James Holland. He's going through some health issues, so I hope everybody sends a prayer out to him and his family. And then, man, count your blessings every day. We were talking about it before we got on. Everybody needs to take a moment to count your blessings because, in all honesty, there's somebody out there who's doing worse than you. Wow. So please take the time to smell your roses, count your blessings, and man, let's tomorrow's another day. We'll get started.
That's it, y'all. Y'all be good to yourself. We out. Team No Sleep.